The Doctor, the GOAT, the Hero. Just some of the names Valentino Rossi has been called by motorcycle fans over the years. His illustrious career in MotoGP and junior categories has been fabulous, but many fans have never called him a Formula 1 driver. Well, Valentino Rossi most certainly impressed when he drove an F1 car, and that is the story I am here to tell today. Valentino Rossi is not just the most successful MotoGP rider of all time, he's currently living out his days racing in the GT World Challenge Championship, as well as running the VR46 Academy for young motorcycle riders. But his illustrious MotoGP career was not always the first thought for Valentino Rossi. A career in Formula 1 was not outside the realms of possibility. Regular F1 testing was something he did during his younger years, this all starting in 2004. Rossi first tested a Ferrari Formula 1 car at Fiorano in 2004. It was his first time in a single-seater since early karting days, but the Italian got up to speed quickly. Ferrari did not cut costs with his driver coach either. Michael Schumacher was the man who was assisting Rossi on the day, even lending him a spare helmet. Michael was impressed with how quickly Valentino adapted to F1 machinery, but simply stated, "He's a racer, he knows what to do." Valentino would do similar private tests in 2005. Each time he would get quicker and more used to the car. It was intensive training, but interesting to Rossi, who clearly stated that he wanted to understand the workings of a Formula 1 car. Following another private test at the end of 2005, Valentino's first public F1 test would come in 2006 at pre-season testing. Rossi would drive a detuned V10 engine car, while Ferrari's permanent drivers Schumacher and Massa would drive the car for that season. This was not only done to make integration into public testing easier for Valentino Rossi, it was also done so no direct comparisons could be made between Rossi and other drivers, as media attention would distract Ferrari from the Rossi program. Did Valentino Rossi get used to the car and being around other drivers? Was it a successful test? Oh, it was so much more than that. Valentino Rossi set a lap time of 1 minute 12.362 seconds, 7/10 off a 7-time world champion in the form of Michael Schumacher. The entire Formula 1 world was stunned by the Italian's efforts to get as close as he did in an older and compromised car. Schumacher himself was fairly shocked, exclaiming that, "I did not give him any advice, because he simply does not need it." Rossi was happy with how he performed. His only criticism of himself was that he needed to get better in wet running. "I have to say that I felt at home and did not have any particular problems. Perhaps I have to practice a little in the driving during wet conditions," Rossi quipped after spinning on his only lap in the wet on opening day. This was perhaps when the door was opened widest for an F1 seat for Rossi. Valentino had lost the 2006 MotoGP season title narrowly to Nicky Hayden. Some said Valentino was distracted by his 1,000-kilometre of F1 testing, but the Italian insisted that this was not the case. Unbeknown to everyone at that point, Schumacher's days at Ferrari were numbered. Kimi Räikkönen would join for 2007 and grab the F1 title at his first attempt with the Scuderia. Rossi too had been in a contract year, but re-signed with Yamaha in June 2006 to go on to claim 2 more MotoGP Premier Class titles. Rossi was back behind the wheel of a Ferrari a few years later, driving a 2008 spec car with the Corsa Cliente operation and enjoying some more serious running around Mugello and Barcelona. But that really did look like it was for fun, unlike the serious 2006 test. Rossi's last chance of securing an F1 seat with Ferrari was in 2009. Felipe Massa suffered a horrible injury at the Hungarian Grand Prix, and replacement driver Luca Badoer struggled in his first 2 races with the team. Rossi was a serious contender to drive at Monza. Valentino even spoke with Ferrari to try and come to an agreement, but Valentino has been quoted saying, Jumping in the car without proper practice just wasn't feasible. And realistically, he was right. Throwing someone who has never raced an F1 car competitively into the cauldron that is Monza is not only a huge ask, chuck in the fact he would be an Italian driving for Ferrari, and it's a whole other story. Despite taking part in more testing in 2010 and even in 2017 with Mercedes, it was merely for entertainment, as Valentino would never make his F1 debut. The closest he would get would be on Lando Norris's bucket hat at Monza in 2019. The Doctor would stay in MotoGP until his early 40s, where he would bow out and test himself in the world of sports cars. In very much Rossi fashion, he's finding some success there. Imagine a world where Lewis Hamilton and Valentino Rossi make their F1 debut in the same year. F1 would have truly completed the ultimate crossover, and MotoGP would have been robbed of their biggest attraction. If you enjoyed this video, consider a subscription. It's free, and I shall see you in the next one.